Welcome back to Founders Moment, brought to you by Berkeley Summit House. I'm the BSH student member, Natalie, and today I'm very thrilled to be joined by someone that wears many hats. AI researcher, professor at Columbia University, as well as the founder of a company that's pushing the boundary of AI agents, Dr. Yu, who's the founder of Arklex AI. So, Dr. Yu, thank you so much for being with us today. And could you start by giving a brief introduction of yourself?
Yes, definitely. I'm Joe. I work mostly on AI agent these days. I'm a professor in computer science. I also have a company called Arklex AI that works on simulations and t automatic testings for AI agents.
Yeah. So to start off, I kind of wanted to dig a little bit back into your early research years. So on your website, I saw that you studied both linguistics and computer science as like an undergrad in Zhejiang University.
Mhm.
So I'm sure that like kind of lays a very solid foundation for your later work in natural language processing. But back in the day, in 2007, the concept of large language models and natural language processing are not like nearly as popular of a topic as it is now. So I'm really curious about what draws you to this intersection back then.
I started working on this probably like second or third year of my undergrad, around 2010 ish. So I'm just very interested in general in languages. And then at the same time, I'm a computer science major. I have been working on or studying AI the second year of my undergrad already. So I just like the concept of AI that back in the days it wasn't that popular, but it started to get popular at that time as well. And the idea is that you can use machine to automate things. So the automation process is always that gets me very excited about. And I'm specifically very interested in language. So I started also I got a degree in linguistics. So my thesis on the linguistics side was to do automatic machine translation,
Mm,
translating Mandarin into English. And back then, it's not like before pre-LLM stages, machine learning. We're mostly looking like a still rule-based machine translation plus a little bit of statistical machine translation. So we're specifically looking into like syntax. So I back in the days there was a lot of linguistics inside of natural language processing because we have to draw inspirations from linguistics in order to make the machine learning model work better. But these days with large language model, actually you could think about when people say large language model, back in the days we already have language models, but mostly smaller language models. It's
mhm,
just like the same task that we have been solving all these years. But nowadays we're using a large language model, which is like neural network based models to solve it. So that
mm,
actually made it much more popular over time because we have seen results. But the task, when people say natural language processing, it's a application field of machine learning.
mhm,
So translation was the most popular one before, right? Translating from different languages. And then we have later on like a lot of this nowadays like chatbots, like we call it conversational AI. All these are considered application areas. So
mhm.
more and more applications areas are centered around how to use large language models to empower them to do more downstream tasks like summarizations, like meeting summarizations. Now everybody can use it on Zoom, right? Back in the days, like it was like, oh, it was very advanced technology.
And so it seems like you have a very successful academic career. So after Zhejiang University, you went to CMU and UC Davis, and then now you're teaching at Columbia University. So I'm wondering, in this process, what inspired you to first tapping into the entrepreneurship space?
Yeah, so after grad school, I was just very interested to do more research because that I really like the idea of exploring designing new things. So basically creating new technologies, new algorithms, new applications that people haven't done before, which is very inspiration that keeps me like up, like working on things. So that is where my passion lies. But after like 7 or 8 years within the academic, I really still wondering that whatever algorithms and papers and code that we produce, how does it translate into real impact in the world? right? Whenever we wrote paper in the introduction section, we're always saying, oh, if
Mhm.
people can use this to do what, right? How this is going to change in terms of everyday workflow of certain people. So I was just really intrigued into seeing whatever we created out of our research can actually become a product. Can it actually people use this product to change their everyday life? So it's more about I'm very interested to see this kind of end-to-end process of how a technology can become a product. But at the same time, of course, like being able to have a product, would have to have a company that
Mhm.
produces product, be able to sell it to people who really need the product. So being able to really insert the influence really requires to build a company around it. So that's
Mhm.
why I started to look into more about the startup area to learn more about how to run startups, how to hire people, how do we find the right people, right persona within companies to give us insights about how to build the products, how we could sell the products to the right people.
So thank you so much for sharing some of your kind of earlier experiences. So now I kind of wanted to like shift focus back a little bit more to Arklex AI, this very exciting project that you're working on right now. So could you tell us more about Arklex and so what exact gap or opportunity in the AI era did you foresee that sort of led you to create Arklex AI?
Arklex is a developer tool that it's a toolkit to support engineers to be able to go from AI agent demo into AI agent production ready much faster than before. So what we really see is it's very easy to build an agent. There are so many toolkits and tutorials to build it, but it's very difficult to know how well your agents are. So you don't know whether it's good enough to deploy. So according to an MIT study, like 95% of the demos do not go anywhere. Uh, on the AI agent area. So we wanted to help these engineers to be able to how to be able to shift their demo into production ready agents much faster. So specifically, we built a toolkit to help people to be able to automatically use enumerated potential scenario-based simulations to detect errors before you deploy. So in this way, your agents will be more safe, will not make more errors when you before your deployment. And especially for more compliance heavy areas like finance or medical, you can actually have a more extensive testing process that can convince your compliance team that this agent was good enough for production ready, wouldn't lead to a lot of errors that it could cause like a customer having problems.
It seems like one of the approaches that you guys are taking to kind of like speed up the deployment process is the use of synthetic users or synthetic scenarios that sort of like speeds up the testing and the training of the model. So, but like this concept of like using AI to evaluate the performance of an AI agents may seem a little bit baffling to people that are not familiar with your work. So I'm wondering if you can like explain a little bit more on how it works and also how can we be sure that those simulated AI users can actually reflect the behavior of people when they're interacting with agents in real life.
Yeah. So if you think about, let's take a simple one. If you build an agent, right, that
Mhm.
was doing customer service, let's say, um, how do you know if your customer service agents are doing all the right things? If so many people are talking to your agents, they may have different personality, they may have different goals, right? They will be very different if one person talks to your agent and the other person talks to the agent. So previously, most people are trying to simulate in terms of testing these agents or recruiting real users or recruiting business ops people to pretend they're users to interact with your agents to find bugs. But this process is very manual and very very, I would say,
Yes.
very difficult to incorporate all kind of diversities, right?
Mhm.
But because you can't release it before you do all this thorough testing, it's sort of like in this, so you're locked into this box that you don't know if it's good enough to deploy, right? So the good thing about AI is we can take existing data these kind of humans take and then try to fill in the gaps. So we
Mhm.
can create synthetic personas who are similar to your end users and would have different aspect of user, different age range, different personalities. I'm a person easily get excited, or I'm a person easily get frustrated, right?
Mm.
And then also their goals. I'm a person who just purchased a thing that I want to return. Or I'm a new customer. I just wanted to do explorations, give me suggestions, right? So you can imagine all these different scenarios. So instead of we asking humans to write up these scenarios, it's more about we use AI to generate them in parallel, in a large scale. So in
Mhm.
this way, it's almost like you're doing a penetration test to all potential cases that
Mhm.
may that your agents, when you release it, is going to experience. So in this way, where you sort of battle test or do integrated tests with your agents, so that we can find bugs for you, and then you can within your engineers looking at our reports can start fixing them. We also give you bug fix suggestions so you can fix them faster and then can run it again to make sure you pass all these kind
Mm.
of corner cases that may break your system, but you don't know. Right. So in this way, it's much more thoroughly tested. And many people would ask, like, how can we guarantee that our simulated users are will behave similar to a real user? So our goal is to make sure that we have diverse persona, but also realistic. So that was an algorithm we developed over the years that based on some real data that we collected to do the inference.
So on the website, Arklex definitely reports some really impressive numbers, like 100% task completion, 95% answer correctness. So do you mind if I ask, like, could you kind of like walk us through what these metrics mean in practice, and also like, are they measured from like internal simulations or like real world deployment, or like a mixture of both at this stage?
Yeah, so I would say a mixture is the best because we
Mhm.
design these scenarios
Yeah.
to help. So most of these that we're looking into how many coverage we already did for you in terms of evaluations. So
Hmm.
we're mostly looking into test automation percentages and
Hmm.
then being able to make sure that the goal completion was improved over time after you based on our suggestions to edit your agents.
And what do you think distinguishes Arklex AI from its competitors? Like, what are the technical barriers that makes it like a unique product? Yeah.
Yeah, so mostly is our domain knowledge within verticals such as finance, and education.
Hmm.
We collected data within these areas. We also know the business logic in these areas. We know what are the metrics and how the engineering process, specifically AI agent engineers like pain points
Hmm.
and their workflows. So our toolkits was really integrated into their everyday work pipelines. So it's made it most productive for them to use our toolkits to complete their day-to-day work in terms of automated testing and eval and improvement of the agents. So
Hmm.
mostly very, very important parts for engineers to start from a simple demo to a production grade agent.
I saw that there has also been a recent toolkit called like the agent notes that helps developers to define text and voice agents entirely through prompts. And you also mentioned earlier that like this process of developing AI agents have been becoming easier and easier. So in this trend, what do you see AI agents heading over the next 5 to 10 years? Do you think it will eventually become a part of our daily work, like the SaaS tools that are today?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Because if you think about AI agents, they're basically replacing a lot of standard SaaS products that we're
Yeah.
looking into. So everyday life, for example, you could think about you can use natural language as input, to build slides, right? To write documents. So these are basically all agents, right? If we are using deep research to build a slide deck of deep analysis on a top five stock within a vertical, right? So these are all things that you can use large language model driven agents to work on. So we see that these kind of productivity agents will become more and more popular.
Mm-hmm.
Customer-facing agents will become more popular because customers, especially many customers, originally do not have good customer service, right? Or sales process, like a sales engagement. They get very little. Only very important large customers get really good tailored customer care.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, with automations, AI can solve a lot of these problems. I think and also like in other areas like processing existing documents and knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
How do you connect different resources that agentic framework can do in order to process information, to compile some information, and so on. So we can see a lot of these original workflows can be automated.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a huge change within enterprises over the years.
Also, like, please correct me if I'm wrong. Like, when I say agent note, is this the...
No, actually, we didn't call it Agent O. We basically have two products. One
Mhm.
is our Arklex Agent Framework.
Mhm.
The other is our Arklex Agent Simulator.
I
So the
see.
simulator is our main product, but
Mhm.
our Arklex Framework does have voice agents and also text-based agents that you
Mhm.
can use natural language to describe in order to generate these
I see.
agents. So we do
Mhm.
sell agent toolkits, but we also sell the automated testing toolkits, it's the simulation kits.
Yeah, thank you so much for the clarification. Yeah, and we're sort of reaching to the end of the interview, and just before we conclude, I'm wondering, you have like any piece of advice that you would give to students or earlier career researchers that's watching this video who might also wanted to embark on a similar journey as you did?
Yeah, I think like a um startup or entrepreneurship is not a one-man show. It's
Hmm.
always a teamwork. You want to think about like what do you like the most? Like what makes you energized every day. So the more that you do it, you think, oh, that would be something I want to do. And then find another person or another two, three person that complements you in other areas of expertise. Then it
Hmm.
will become a well-rounded team that people would have different responsibilities during the entire journey. Because entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. Having co-founders usually are very important. So one thing I could think about is, for example, you are very good at engineering, you are good at product, then you want to find a person that has more business minded, how to do marketing, how to do sales, how to do operations, right? So knowing what you know and knowing what you lack is a process that I think is the most important.
Yeah, thank you so much for the piece of advice, and thank you so much for joining with us and sharing both the science and the story behind Arklex. To our audience, if you're interested, check out Arklex.ai to learn more. And also, of course, visit berkeleysummithouse.org to see how we're building space for students and founders to grow together.